Good morning, everybody. This is Coach Melvie coming to you on a Sunday morning. I believe it is February the 7th, and it's about 9:39 in the morning here in the Central Standard area. And I had a moment of thought that occurred in me, and it was very enlightening, actually. Something that I've been pondering for a while, something that I had been learning, going through the process myself. So I thought I'd share it with you because it's something that we as um, spirit walking in human form don't realize. And those who don't even realize that they are spirit, sometimes they do things out of ego and and sometimes out of heart. But most of the time it's ego because ego wants to make a certain thing happen or cause a certain thing to happen, or because of what we see through our eyes, instead of looking on the inside continually or reaching into the inside. So, what am I saying? What in the world is she saying? Oh my God, here she goes. But yeah, okay, so it's about respect, the respect of others, especially, and respecting yourself, knowing when to listen and be quiet and listen. Just take it in and file it away in the back of your head, and knowing when it's going the opposite way, knowing when to give information and when not to give information, because sometimes you can give information and it's not received, or it's taken in offensively, or the person is just not ready again. So what am I saying? Sometimes you can know people and understand people just by observing them, listening to them, watching their actions, watching everything that they do in their lives. And this goes for self too, because this should be a self lesson as well. You see what a person's going through, and if you're really in tune with yourself spiritually as well as the spirit world itself, because that's how we create. That's how we communicate with the Creator. You begin to see things from that side, the spiritual side. Not trying to make this spooky spiritual, but we are spirit energy beings. So people are starting to pay attention to that side, and more. And I'm noticing that the older I get, I'm connecting more to my spiritual side, and I'm having more battles with ego. But it's also learned lessons in between those battles. So it's a welcoming situation because I'm growing and becoming better, and I'm also pulling back to who I truly am, which is that spirit energy, and understanding that portion of me, and which is what I want everyone else to try to understand about themselves. You are a spirit being. You are not just flesh and blood. Your flesh and blood is basically a costume, and you're in a play, and this whole life situation that you're walking in right now is literally not real. It's make believe, so to say. You're just having an experience. You're learning about some things while you're on this earth, in this body, in this form, as this person. Not even realizing that you have actually probably been several different people, several different lifetimes, and are actually several different people in several different lifetimes, in several different dimensions right now. That's a lot of information to take in for some people, but those of you who are ready and your spirit is actually relating to this, and you're saying to yourself, oh wow, so that is real, so I'm not hallucinating, then yes, this is for you. So getting back to what I wanted to say, and often I go off on a tangent. I'll go to the left. So take that information. If it's too much for you, again, file it away, because there's some times where people had said things to me and it did not make no common sense in the world to me in this earthly realm. And I would have to go, okay, that doesn't make sense to me. But someday, one day, 1 year, it came back around, and all of a sudden that file cabinet opened up, and that information that I remember hearing from someone else came back around, and all of a sudden 2 plus 2 started to equal 4. And then all of a sudden the light bulb went off. I'm like, oh, That's what they were talking about. So that's what I wanted to say. And going back again to my subject, as you see, I just said I go off on tangents and I did it again. So what happens is you can see things in people and you can see something that they probably could use from you to help them. I'm choosing words as I speak, so it sounds like I may be reading or whatever, but I'm thinking as I speak because I want you to clearly hear me from your heart and not from, okay, well, this is what she said. You can learn about a person just by observing and listening, and you'll see a pattern. And if you're really grounded into the spirit energy inside of you and the creator source inside of you, you can feel energies from everyone. You can feel all of it, the negativities, the denseness, the heaviness, the heart. You can feel all the emotions. You can feel it, especially if you're an empath. So what am I saying is that sometimes we want to help other people and our spirit will know or be able to help them in a certain direction. But sometimes they're not ready to receive that information because of course we all have been under a lot of different type of indoctrinations and beliefs and based on our culture, based on what's been happening in the world, based on our skin color, based on our inabilities or whatever and whatnot. What I'm trying to say is just because you may see something or the spirit may show you something that may help that person, that doesn't automatically mean that you need to spew that information out to them because, again, they may not be ready to hear you. They may be still in that place of indoctrination, mind control or programming that they've gone through growing up, depending on what situations they've gone through. So you can't just expect them to just stop the way they've been programmed to be or indoctrinated to be, to just all of a sudden listen to you. There has to be some type of connection to their spirit where they have that door open to say, okay, well, this is the way it's been with me, but I know there's something more. I know there's something different. And that doesn't happen until that person has already had that moment. Because I know I did. One day I just sat in my bedroom. I'm like, there's more to this. I know there is, because nothing makes sense right now. I started to question everything. So your intentions probably may be well and good, but you still have to pay attention to when and how and if that door is open, because if you do care about people, the one thing you don't want to do is cause them to backtrack. You don't want to cause them to push against you, or you don't want to cause a negative influence, or you don't want to lose that person in your life if you truly care about them. And most definitely, you don't want to come off as arrogant and you know it all. Information, and sometimes the information that you have may not need to come through you. It may just have to come through someone else at a different time in that person's life. And that's okay, because you can be an intercessor for that person. And I now understand that you can be an intercessor for that person. Now, if their spirit is telling you to tell that person and it won't leave you alone, you know that that's what you need to do, regardless of what that person. Now, you may get a pushback. You may even get a crazy look. You may get a curse out. It just depends. But there are certain times in your life that you're going to have to give a message to someone that might not be ready to receive it. And you may be that person to receive that information from someone, and you might not be ready to receive it. Because the first thing we do in spirit is go, you don't know me. You don't know my life. Who are you to tell me blah, blah, blah? Let me just say the spirit recognizes spirit regardless if they know that person or not. Because have you ever had an experience in your life where someone just walked up to you and told you things that you have never told anyone? Or only certain people knew about it, so you knew this person couldn't have possibly known this information, because 9 times they don't even know you. They've never seen you, you've never seen them, but they just read your book, literally. That's how the spirit is in tune with the spirit, and different people, different ways. We all have that gift though, but we have to be in tune to receive it. We have to be in tune to be able to even recognize it in others. So this goes also for people who are, it depends on where you are in life and what journey that you're on, because depending on what journey you're on, you're going to go through different situations and phases where you believe this is the right way to be. You believe this is the right way. That's the wrong way. And then there are those who feel like, okay, all of this is still causing duality in the world and friction in the world and pain and hatred in the world. And then, there are those who feel like if you don't listen to them and their word and their way, then you're something's wrong with you and you're against whatever the cause is. It's like, okay, there are like a million trillion causes in the world. So who are we to tell someone else because they're of a skin color or nationality or whatever else, which again, all of this I said at the beginning is fake. Your spirit is not connected to a color. It's not connected to a race. This is just who you are in human form. But this is not who you are. So the one thing we need to learn how to do is not to get so attached to this skin, this flesh, this color, even the race that you're in. This nationality that you're walking in right now. This is just temporary. This is not who you are forever. This is not who your ancestors are forever. Your ancestors are spirit beings. They are not still that African American. They're still not that Asian. They're still not that Caucasian, that whoever. This is what I really want to try to get across to you. You are not this who you are in your skin right now. You are multidimensional, multifaceted. You have been so many different places at the same time and don't even realize who you truly are. And it takes a long time to really grasp that. So to tell someone that, based on what information you know, which is a good thing. It's good to know new information. But if a person chooses not to go a certain route, this does not necessarily mean they're wrong. And it doesn't mean that they're against a certain cause because it might not be the cause that they're supposed to be here for. Does it mean they're a bad person? No. Does it mean they don't care? No. And we have been getting that wrong. So at the end of what I'm trying to say is whatever you have or you see within for another person, or you see, put it like this, whatever you have to give, to share, you think you have to share with another person, make sure that you're checking within yourself. And before you even do it, make sure you're watching and paying attention to that person's spirit itself, because the person may not receive it. They may just come back at you and tell you a few couple words that you weren't expecting. And if you feel like you're still being led to say something, at least try and say it in a way that's respectful to that spirit and that person's flesh who's not in the spirit. Because if you're in spirit, you're going to hear it first. You're going to pause before you even react. That's what most people who are really trying to be into the spirit, they're going to pause before they react. They're going to listen in the spirit, and they're going to know whether or not that person is coming from the spirit or from the flesh. And there's my phone, and I forgot to put it on. I forgot to put it on silent. But pay attention to the signs. But just because you may know some information on a person does not necessarily mean that you need to share it all the time. And if you are led to really share it again, do it respectfully and with love, and make sure you're paying attention to how they're receiving it, and also pay attention to how you're disseminating the information to them. Be really careful. Take your time when speaking. It's like I did in the beginning, because when I'm trying to really find the correct words, and it's not always easy, because English language is very hard, as much as any other language, to try to disseminate the correct words without offending someone. Because unfortunately, the flesh gets offended very much, very quickly, and can if we're not in the spirit. We hear a certain word. That's what you said, but that's what you said, and we didn't stop before we responded because we were so busy trying to defend ourselves or be on the offensive with the information that's being given. So stop before you speak, whether you're giving information and whether you're receiving it, because it's all about respect around the whole thing. And no, if it's not meant for you to say something to that person, now might not be the right time. And then someone else may say something to them. And because you didn't say it didn't mean it wasn't, now just not might, what am I saying? Now my tongue tied on an early Sunday morning. Now may not be the right time. That's what I'm saying. And it may not just be you. Maybe you need to just speak into the atmosphere, speak into the universe to send love and light to that person. That, start seeing that person, imagining that person in a prosperous, loving, abundant life. And whatever it is that your spirit is saying, you start seeing that person in where the spirit really wants them to be, and healed and happy, and but you can't force anything on anyone. I don't care what your doctrine is. I don't care what your belief is. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what any of it is. Because at the end of the day, all of this that we're down here pushing on everyone and is just, it's going to remain here. It doesn't even matter where it started. Yes, it may have started in Egypt, but at the same time, why are we arguing over where it came from first? Because at the end of the day, it still stops here. It stops here in this human form. All things down here on the human form stops here. You cannot take it with you. You come out of this costume and you go back to spirit. Spirit has no color. Spirit has no race. Spirit has no nationality. So why are we arguing about something that was founded from spirit first? It may have started from spirit and it came down through a race. But everyone should be getting the information, not just one race. Everyone should be knowledgeable about this information, not just one people. Everyone. Because at the end of the day, when you look at it, we've all been told certain information that wasn't true. And it's all been discombobulated, all been disseminated, all been changed and turned upside down and inside out. So at the end of the day, there's literally no wrong and no right. There's no elite and no under. There's no big I and no little you. This, that, this. If you want to call everybody kings and queens, then let us all be kings and queens, because we are. If it started at one race, then guess what? Everybody came from that race. Whether it's accepted now because of everything that's happened in life and throughout the different centuries and decades and years and whatever. But as long as you know the truth, whatever that truth is, the truth should lead you back to spirit, if anything else. If nothing else, put it like that. It should always lead you back to spirit. Spirit is the truth for me. Spirit. It's not about my skin color. It's not about my body, my race, my religion. So I'm going to hear, there's a pastor that used to say this one thing all the time, and I remembered it. He always said this to us in his sermons, whatever. He'd always say, chew the meat and spit out the bones. Someone can give you some information, and the only thing you need to do is take out what is actually needed. Because if it's telling you to hate on someone, it's telling you to be mean to someone else, if it's telling you anything negative or a low vibrational energy, then 9 times out of 10, that's probably not what you need to be listening to. But there's some meat in there that you need to be chewing on to get you closer and closer to spirit. That's what you take on. So I'm going to end this right now in love. And I'm hoping that you can get some seeds out of this, that you can get some meat out of this, and you can chew that meat and spit out the bones that you don't need. But everything we do, we should do it in love toward ourselves and towards others. And all the other negativity, the low vibrational stuff, we need to let it go, because this is where we will be stuck here in this place. And we'll have to repeat the cycle again. And I don't think I want any of you to repeat it, because it's hard enough to try to do it in the one life you can remember right now, much less try to remember one that you've done simultaneously in another dimension. or while you were sleeping. That's too hard. And that's too much information for some people. They're just like, what in the world? But I'm pretty sure that by me giving you this information, it's going to make you think. It's going to make you take a step back and go, wait a minute. It might even cause you to research some stuff, look up some stuff, read a book on something, and trigger something in you that goes, okay, I want to step outside of this circle because I know there's more. This is Coach Melvie signing off. I love you all, and I just wanted to share love each other, respect each other, and tread lightly. Take care. God bless.